it, especially for 3. Yeah, welcome into it. Welcome to Arrowhead Allies, coming off of a Sunday night football Chiefs victory over the Detroit Lions, 30-17. We're in here for it. I hope you guys can come in, drop us a chat, drop us a question. We will be talking about all of it here on Arrowhead Allies as the Chiefs get to 3-3 on the season, Brian, which was key because you said last week there ain't no way this team's going to 2-4, and thankfully that was not going to be the case.
That's right. Let's go back to the 80s real quick. Hop in the DeLorean with me. Mecca lecca hi, Mecca honey ho. I'm the genie from Pee-wee's Playhouse. Yes. I told you, man, it was never a doubt in my mind. Shout out to Nick Wright. It wasn't. I knew they were going to get it done. The offense is too good. They've been clicking. We'll get into it tonight.
Absolutely. Yeah. And before we get into it, let's go back to that moment from last week, about a minute of you giving it to us, calling it bullshit that we were picking the Lions, and Brian was the right one.
God damn.
Thank you.
I'm glad that you had me go last, because this is some bullshit. Look, fellas, look, I got to bring us back down to reality, man. Look, we are still the Kansas City Chiefs. Look, for all intents and purposes, if couple things go the other way, the Chiefs would have one loss maximum. Okay, so look, stop it, y'all. 33-30. The Chiefs are going to win on Sunday Night Football. Arrowhead's going to go crazy. The tailgaters are going to be out there at 6 a.m. Sunday morning. They're not leaving until 6 a.m. Monday morning. Okay, it is going to be a party at Arrowhead as them Detroit Lions coming in with their ugly all-white uniforms that I'm sure they're going to wear.
They are.
Look, this team isn't going 2-4. They're not going 2-4. You can cut this, you can reel it, you can post it, you can do whatever you want to do. I'm guaranteeing the Chiefs are not going 2-4. They will win this week, and they will be 3-3 heading into the week where we get Rashee Rice back. Not only was I right about the Chiefs winning, but damn it, I was right about the uniforms too.
They were ugly.
Look quickly with the Lions uniforms. The Lions have actually beautiful uniforms if they use them right. Yes. They always go with the all blue or all white. They got such beautiful silver pants with the stripes. They just want to be disobedient to the uniform guys, and that's why not why, but maybe that's part of the reason they lost.
Do they even have a silver pants with this?
Yes,
with this current setup? I haven't seen them.
Yeah, yes, the uniforms are a newer version of the Barry Sanders version Lions uniforms. So they just like to go with their practice, like they look like they're in practice, like with what they have, but very, very much underutilized beautiful uniforms the Lions have.
But Brian, you got the prediction right, but one problem, you gave the Lions a few too many points. The Chiefs hold 17 points, their season low. I think week 1 against Green Bay, they got blown out by the Packers in week 1, but since then they've been on fire. The most diverse, to me, offensive unit in the NFL right now, and the Chiefs did not once again give up a 100-yard rusher, even though there was some lanes there for Montgomery and some lanes there for Gibbs early on. They settled in as Spags defense usually does, and to give up 17 points in this game when the Chiefs needed it the most. Charles Omenihu even getting in on the sack action. This defense stepped up when they needed it the most. When I thought maybe they were about to head in another poor direction, hell, Noah Shamari Connor, we like to give him a lot of guff, didn't even play that bad. He was even in solid position on the Sam Laporta touchdown. Just an amazing play by tight end for the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, and didn't get his head around again, but I digress. It's a win. Let's not go into all this negativity with some of the kind of pitfalls of the secondary. because we were giving up pretty much every single pass that we were defending. Nick Bolton, I think, was 9 out of 10 giving up passes, and Shamari Connor 3 out of 3, 4 out of 4. But we weren't giving up yards. We were stopping it when it was needed in the crucial moments of the game, holding this offense to 17 points. We got to get into it, guys, because Brian Branch at the end of the game said, I did a little childish thing, but I'm tired of people doing stuff in between the play and the refs don't catch it. They be trying to bully me out there and I don't. I shouldn't have did it. It was childish. And he says he was blocked in the back illegally by Juju, and that's kind of what caused it, these bad feelings, holding that all the way over till the end of the game. And he's gotten a 1-game suspension, but he's appealing it. So how sorry is he really?
You know, I think he was well within his right, to be honest with you. I'm not mad at it. Now, did I want it to happen? Absolutely not. But I just look at things from a totality. I look at the entire thing, and the play where Juju blocked him in the back. It was a dirty play by Juju. When you're taught in football, if you can see the name on the back, leave him alone. And that's to me, that's a clear block in the back, man. It's bright as day. It's a dirty play by Juju. It is. And so he was probably carrying that throughout the entire game. He was probably pissed off the entire game carrying that. And then at the end of the game, I'm getting my ass whooped. This normally doesn't happen in Detroit. Detroit don't get their ass whooped to the divisional round of the playoffs. But you know, with this team specifically, they are used to being the bullies. They're used to that. And so emotions were high, big stage, national stage TV. You know, the stakes are high. They just got their ass whooped. Emotions are high. And so he let his frustrations out. And he definitely wasn't trying to, in the hood in Kansas City, we say Jeff with the opponent, meaning, be nice to them or be complimentary of them. Like he didn't feel like doing that with Patrick Mahomes. And did Juju make it worse? I don't know. I thought that Juju was coming to dap him up and shake hands and show sportsmanship. At that point, look, everybody has that breaking point. Everybody does. And that was his. He wasn't feeling it. He stole on him. He scratched him. He went home without an aspirin. Everything is fine, man. But I just don't think that I think that Chiefs fans should look at the totality of everything and not just get on Brian Branch, because if it happened to you, you might feel the same way.
If a Chiefs player did that, it would be the most despicable thing I've ever witnessed. I would be apologizing for the next 36 hours.
Okay, all right. So let me ask you this, Clint. Let me ask you this.
Have the rest of the game to get his receipt back on Juju Smith-Schuster when the game's going on. Why'd we wait 2 hours to do it and throw a punch?
So if we're playing the Raiders, this week, and after the play, they hit in the back, Jaden Hicks. They hit him in the back, knock him on the ground, a dirty play. In between the lines, but it's a dirty play. And then the Chiefs lose the game. You would be mad at Hicks for, like, you would be seriously mad at Hicks for taking a swing at him?
That's not what we do here. This is not what this organization does, for damn sure. Not happening. I would be the most despicable thing I've ever seen. Noah, what do you think?
You sure that's the most despicable? We saw Albert Hainsworth cleat somebody in the face.
It was a bit hyperbolic, the most despicable.
If it happened at the end of the game, then maybe I could understand it. It's like they're taking a knee and then they give you a little something, what for, come across the line and hit Mahomes in the helmet or something, and you're protecting your quarterback, or maybe it's Mahomes going after a guy. But like Clint said, he had so much time in the game. You want a 15-yard penalty? You want to go after him? Make it happen. But you wait till the end of the game. And I think he's a little upset also about Mahomes pointing the finger in his face.
Oh, he styled on him. Yeah, he was styling on him.
And then Mahomes giving dirty looks to Aiden Hutchinson and then Dan Campbell after the game. Mahomes saying, hey, we keep it between the whistles. They can do all the extracurricular stuff. We play between the whistles. And you see over there Dan Campbell saying it's inexcusable, but I don't know if Mahomes is like, hey, this is what you guys kind of preach over there, and that's why he's giving him that look. But Yeah, if it happened at the very end of the game, but like Clint said, you have time in between when it happened and the end of the game to get your get back.
I understand it. I get it. You know, a lot of times I can be a very understanding person if it makes sense. And Clint, what you're saying makes total sense, 100%. But on the other hand, man, look, I've actually been in the same position. In Pee Wee football, it was my last year of Little League football in 1999. I was playing with the Buffalo Bills, wearing that beautiful number 58. And there was a play where I thought was trying to hit him from the side, not necessarily a blind side or a block in the back, but I kind of got him in the in the back. I blocked him in the back. It was unintentional, but he was in a line of fire, and I had to make a play. It wasn't called or anything, but he got depleted. He did. He you know, woof. I laid the wood on that play because I was coming around on a pool, I think, on a play. Anyway, end of the game, right? Bro, I'm walking to my pop's car, trying to put my equipment up as trying to get ready to, go see my little brother's game. Somebody throws something at me. It was like an empty can of pop or something. Somebody throws something at me. I look back. It's a dude. He still got his uniform on, but he got like his cousins or his brothers with him, and they about to jump me because this happened. They about to jump me after we done dapped up and shook hands at the end of the game. Good game or whatever. My pops was like 50 feet away because I would let's go, because I still had my equipment on and I had my helmet, so I was ready to rock and roll, baby. But I say that to say that I understand the point of frustration that Brian Branch had in that moment. Was it the right thing to do? Nah. Was it the smart thing to do? Hell no. A moment of frustration from a young player on a big stage, man.
A really good player and someone that we talked to, guys. We were there when he got drafted, right? We were all in the room in Kansas City, right? That's where Brian Branch got drafted to the Lions. And
he was in the second round, correct?
He was
top of the second round.
Second, and we were kind of surprised. But it's going to be a topic of conversation. It's going to be something that's looked at. I don't know what this suspension, if it'll be upheld or what'll go on there. I didn't expect him to really appeal that, but it's, but Brian, to be honest, I think a lot of that when you look at things from the other side, which is fine to do, it also kind of gives credence to the crazoids out there that live and die by every single thing that the Chiefs get when it comes to penalties. No penalties yesterday that were accepted, 13 the week before, and the internet was melting down during this game. And, you give them an inch and they take a mile, and that's all people are focused on right now.
I mean, some things you just got to ignore, man. Some things just got to be water off your back because it's ridiculous. Or do you have a better view at home on your couch, on your lazy boy, on your comforter than the referees do right there 10, 20 feet away from the play? Like, people just couldn't be more ridiculous. There are some things, like, if I'm an Eagles fan against the Broncos, that's a missed call right there. I understand that with the pass interference at the end of the game. Yeah. Blatant pass interference, blatant holdings. Okay, fine. The play that they're bringing up is what, Noah Gray against Aiden Hutchinson, or was it Juwan Taylor against Aiden Hutchinson, where there was an inside grab of the jersey? Ladies and gentlemen, that's not holding. Holding is the outside. You can grab on the inside, and I saw the play. It was on the framework. Yes, it's right here. Yes, he was holding because that's how you block in the NFL. Right. So, I don't want to hear it. I just let idiots be idiots. Whoever blames the refs on anything I'm sorry. It's a real life loser play. It is.
You're right,
because there are several other things that affect the game besides that leads to these points of where the refs have to call something or whatever.
But Noah, this is
last week we had 13 penalties, and we didn't blame that.
We didn't say nothing.
And people are trying to give us more. Well, you should have had 15, and then we would have won the game. They're like, just what? I don't like. It doesn't make any sense.
Group mentality. This has become like the Mandela effect. This has become a phenomenon that goes well beyond facts or what's actually going on the field of play. We can have Dean Blandino, Fox Rules analyst, on the show all we want, and it goes on deaf ears because you see what you want to see. Everybody in this day and age, and this goes for all aspects of life, your truth is what you want it to be, and you get to live in that world, and that's what we allow today, and that's part of being in a free society that we live in, is your truth is out there. We used to just call those people the X-Files, like conspiracy theorists. Now you just get to live in that reality.
But I do get, just going back to Brian's, like Mahomes is showing him up there, styling on him. I do kind of get where Brian Branch is coming from, because I was styling on people when I was in 7th grade. There wasn't enough people to create a 7th grade flag football league in the group that I was trying to join. And so they're like, you want to go to a 3rd and 4th grade flag football league? And two of my other friends are like, no. I'm like, that sounds amazing and a chance of a lifetime to play against 3rd and 4th graders. I'm out there with like an American flag bandana on my head, picking kids off, Deion Sanders down. The parents are yelling at me, calling refs over, saying, this cannot be allowed. Get this kid out of this game. Get him out of the league. Oh, it was the most fun I've ever had. But yeah, I had parents like threatening me and telling me to get off the field and you want someone your own size. Like, it was insane. But so I get where Brian Branch is angry, because parents were angry at me.
I just think that people, like, speaking of their realities, they like to compare their lives sometimes in contrast to what an NFL player's life is like on the field in terms of competitiveness and work environment. And it's like, you can't compare it. These are the top 1% athletes of the world. And we talking about the most competitive people who've been competing since, they could be able to walk. Mm-hmm. And these are world-class athletes who have a lot on the line. There's legacy on the line. There's money on the line. And there's a lot of bravado on that football field. There's a lot of emotion on that football field. And yes, you have to keep those things in check. But at the same time, man, these guys are human beings. And when Mahomes is styling on you, like, we talking about, put it in perspective, the best player in the game. This ain't, I want to say Tony. I don't know why Tony Romo's the first quarterback that popped into my head. Hey, but this isn't Brody Croyle styling on you. This is the GOAT. This is the best quarterback of all time doing this on prime time. And then you add on the Juju Smith-Schuster. It was just, he reached this boiling point. Yeah. I just hope people can really
throwing him like a rag doll.
Oh, I didn't see that now. See, I don't think he would be mad at that, though. With him being a competitor, I wouldn't think, because that's an offensive lineman. It's a fair play. He went up against a guard, and you got treated like, oh, that's what Kingsley does. But seriously though, he reached his point of frustration. He wasn't trying to dap up Patrick, Juju, and y'all know how Juju is. Juju is goofy. He wanna make TikToks. He wanna dance and all the time. And he was trying to dap him up after he was talking shit during the game and blocked him in the back during the game. Bro, I'm not trying to dap you up. That's the last thing I'm trying to do. And he was like, he had a moment of GTFO. My face. He reached his point of frustration, because I've been there many times before in several situations. So I just maybe I just can understand where he's coming from with his point of frustration.
Yeah.
That's a fair point. And his running mate was asked after the game how difficult it is against Patrick Mahomes. So that shit ain't hard at all, bruh. Don't even say it's difficult. Shit ain't hard. Just got to do our job. And then he's on Twitter crashing out after the game, like quote tweeting everybody, talking about the refs and giving his own little meme for it and saying, damn, to the fight. And so he's not showing that, oh man, that's something we shouldn't be doing. He's like, oh man, that was freaking sweet. Go get him, Branch.
And have some respect for Dan Campbell, who said what he said, and that is what I believe this Detroit Lions organization is more about. But when you have stuff like this, it's like, who's really running this thing? Is Dan Campbell all talk? Do those players, are they really believing in all this? And, the Lions have been, on the cusp for a couple of years now. And yet, like Brian said, boy, you didn't show up in the divisional playoff game when you were a massive favorite against the Washington Commanders with a rookie quarterback. And they didn't show up to start this season. And Jared Goff is one of the few quarterbacks in this league that cannot hurt you with his legs, although he did have doubled his season output in the one run against the Chiefs this game and caught a touchdown. Kind of brought me back to last week against the Jags and Trevor Lawrence. But no, I don't know. I don't know what the identity of this Lions team is. And we're going to see, because this NFC is so wide open. You got Baker Mayfield. That's maybe the front runner for the MVP right now. Who else is good out there? We're going to see. Or the Eagles are now falling off a cliff as they tend to do at certain points. So the NFC
play the Falcons tonight.
It's just a sign of an immature team, man. You got a bunch of young vigilantes on the Lions have a certain type of player on their team. They're usually they play with reckless abandonment. And so you look, it's a sign of an immature team, and I'm not sure that they have the leadership in place to really corral that if it gets out of control. Like, let's say the Lions, lose the next, 3 out of 4, something weird happens. Are they respecting Jared Goff if he says anything? I guess. I mean, Coach Campbell, he seems to be a great leader who they look up to. But as far as the players themselves, I don't know if they got the leadership intact to really corral all of those personalities they got on Detroit. So
and you saw Aiden Hutchinson take like 3 steps and then nail Mahomes for roughing the passer, and Lions fans are online. That wasn't roughing the passer. What are you talking about?
And you know what? They want to bring they don't want to bring up the fact that Amon-Ra St. Brown dropped a wide ass open first down that they had that Jared Goff had to throw under pressure. They don't bring up the fact that your team didn't know the rules. See, this is where coaching matters. Your team didn't know the rules, so your touchdown didn't count because your quarterback didn't reset as a receiver. Okay, so that's the difference between the Chiefs in their first drive last week against the Jaguars, when they actually knew the rules more than the refs knew the rules, because they called a pass interference when really you have a yard to block and engage with a defender. That's the difference between supreme coaching and a culture like Detroit has.
Yeah, and Tony Dungy said he was watching practice when he got there for the game, and he thought they were practicing it illegal. And he's like, I've been out of coaching a while. Maybe the rule has changed. And then they call it, and he's like, oh, no, they just didn't know the rule. They were practicing it illegally. So the Lions didn't know the rule themselves, and that's kind of mind-boggling when you think about all the coaches installing that, putting that into practice, and then they get to the game, touchdown, and like, wait, what's the rule? Like, our coaches don't know the rule? Bummer.
That's what they get for doing all that weird shit. That's what they get.
Boomer Esiason went on Kay Adams this morning and said it should have stood. And of course, if you ask ML Football on X, oh, was this a day to rue the day? If you're a Chiefs fan, boy, not only do you not enjoy your win, but you take yourself out in the backyard and kick your own self in the ass just for living in this city, let alone for cheering for the Chiefs.
Oh, I'll kick my ass for one thing. I have to kick my own ass, because if I ask Harrison Butker to do it, he might miss, and then the job won't get done. So that's one thing we got to talk about here is Harrison Butker misses again every single game, 6 weeks now. Maybe he's just waiting for Rashee Rice to get back, and then his spirits will get lifted, and he'll be able to focus in and make all the kicks. And so maybe this is behind us. But Brian, I'm going to go to you with this one. What do we do? Do we have to get rid of him? Last night, I said I think I'm on board with we might have to get rid of him.
Well, I mean, I've been saying he's a problem since I want to say week 2, maybe even week 1.
This was week 1, yeah.
Look, man, Justin Tucker fell off last year. Butker's been in the league. This is 10th year or 9th year, 9th or 10th year for Butker.
10th.
He's had surgeries. He's had injury issues the past 3 years or so.
Changing his routine.
He's 31.
I believe so, yeah.
Highest paid kicker in the league. I'm just saying, bro, we had to get rid of Nick Lowry. We had to get rid of I don't want to say Pete Stoyanovich. Look, Jan Stenerud, his career winded down. It's probably that time. So look, have you all noticed the new age of kickers that's come along now?
Yeah.
I like Aubrey from the Cowboys are hitting 60-yarders like they're lollipops. So like I I don't know how you can get out of the Bucker contract right now because I don't think you can. But he's not reliable.
Yeah.
He's not reliable right now, y'all. It's the truth. The numbers show what you see on the field shows. He's missing extra points. What are we doing? So I just look. It's a major concern of mine, man. It is, and it could change his strategy a little bit coming into the playoffs. Is he as reliable? Does Andy Reid go for it now on 4th and 3s with the ball on the 40-yard line instead of trying for a potential 57-yard field goal? I don't know, man. It's sketchy.
Which I hope that's the case, because I love the way this offense operates when it's aggressive. And we've seen it 3 straight weeks, guys. This offense has put up 28 or more points for the first time since the last 3 games of 2021. This offense is humming along. This is what we've wanted to see. Noah, for you, it's like you would walk outside like in the Wizard of Oz when Dorothy opens the door and it's color outside. This for you has to be like Dorothy in the Wizard of Oz and when she comes into the land of color of Oz.
It is, but not if it's going to be like last week when the defense allows 31 points to the Jags, and you're like, now the defense is falling. We can't ever have it at the same time. We've talked about that for years, an offense and a defense. In this past game, if they can get that defense improving, keep where it was last week and keep improving on it, I mean, I think maybe the sky's the limit, and I don't know if we go make a move for an edge rusher or something, but yeah, I love where this offense is. I've been waiting for it, and I just want the defense to show up as well. It doesn't have to be top 5, doesn't have to be the best it's ever been, but it just can't give up the 31 that it did against Trevor Lawrence and the Jags. 17 against the Lions, I'll take that every week, man.
Oh, yesterday was a good indication. That's what you need, and that's what you – and I think that is the median, and that is where this defense is at. Is it where it was – 2 years ago when you win the Super Bowl, really carried by that defense? Probably not. Is it where it was last year when you got to 9-0 and then ultimately 15-1, carried by the defense? Probably not. But overall, Brian, I got to ask you this. This is one that's really off the top of my head right now. But when you think about 6-0 at this point last year, you're 3-3 right now. Which team was better, and which team would you rather have now going forward?
Oh, the 25 Chiefs will blow the brakes off the 24 Chiefs. No doubt about it. Just based on the offensive line alone. Did you see Jalen Moore yesterday?
I was going to talk about him, yeah.
I know we're going to talk about it in a second, but I just want to throw this out there. I can't wait for the 2026 Chiefs offense. The 2025 offense is going to be great in itself, but the 26 offense?
Yes.
Just going to be a new running back in there. Anyway,
yeah,
enough of that.
I like that.
So look, man, the 25 Chiefs will blow the brakes off the 24 Chiefs because, first off, the offense alone with the offensive line could guard anybody on that Chiefs defense last year. Hell, that Chiefs defense was good, don't get me wrong. But the fact that you have guys healthy on this offense now, it makes a world of difference. I don't know why people think that if you don't take the top 2 receivers off of an offense, that it won't have an effect, or Patrick Mahomes is just supposedly magically come up with something out of his ass every single play. No, you need a functional offense with the right receivers who you built your entire offense around in the offseason. And now the thing with this offense too, Juju Smith-Schuster has become like Kelsey on 3rd downs. He's being dependent upon in that slot position, and he is a mismatch for a lot of players. He's a bigger target for Patrick Mahomes. Now you got to worry about Xavier Worthy on the outside running east-west. You don't know, your head is turning this way, that way. And now Tyquan Thornton, he's on the third level on your defense. So it's like now you have all of these. I didn't even mention Kelsey himself. So you have all these targets to operate from, when last year you didn't have that. You had to depend on Scott Moore sometimes on as being your 5th receiver, or Justin Watson. You had to depend on him. No shade to Justin Watson. He was a solid to great receiver. But would you rather have him as your 3rd option or Hollywood Brown as your 3rd option?
You're right. And I feel really bad for Brashard Smith, guys, because he's playing really well, I think, for a rookie. But when I see 24, it's like my brain can't quite get it yet.
Think of another player. Hold on. I was gonna say William Barty, but he was just as bad. Hold on, let's get another. 24 has not been a good number for the Chiefs.
True. Ty Law for a year.
Oh, well, Ty Law, okay, but
end of his
he might
career.
be the best one though. Who?
No, I just
Brandon Flowers, right?
Oh, Brandon Flowers. Yeah, that's a good.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
See, just think about Brandon Flowers when you think about 24. Not Scott Moore, not William Barty. Think of Brandon Flowers. There you go.
I will do my best, Brian. But man, Mahomes, we talked about Baker in the MVP race. Everybody always Josh Allen, but we need to talk about Mahomes getting back in the MVP race. His last 3 games, Worthy was in. He didn't play against the Giants, came back for these last 3, 845 yards, 8 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns, interception, the 71% completion percentage over those 3 and 106 passer rating. I mean, what are we seeing in Mahomes' resurgence back to 2022 where he could be in this MVP race till the very end?
Yeah, like Brian said. Just like you said, Brian, a functional offense that has been structured to be effective the way it is right now. And you're seeing it. And that is with the running game getting marginally better over the last 3 games. We're talking baby steps here. We're good with it. You saw a little more pop, no pun intended, from pun very intended for Isaiah Pacheco. Kareem Hunt getting out in some space. You're creating it. And by the way, the option they ran with Patrick Mahomes, look out for that because they're now starting to design running plays for Mahomes. They did not do that all last year. He had 300 yards all of last season. That's going to be a big factor going forward here. This offense is functional and it's going to only get better, Brian.
Fellas, I will say this, and I'm going to hit on this on the pod this week on Brian's World. My biggest concern with this team is Patrick Mahomes and that damn running. He's taking too many shots. He's taking way too many. Those aren't just taps either. Those aren't just, quarterback sacks where he's landing on a guy. Okay? These are live bullets. He has to calm that shit down with taking. I say all the time, I love it. I call him Patrick Vick. Every game, because it's a part of his weaponry that makes him so lethal. But man, when it comes to taking those hits, he's not Patrick Newton, okay? He's not Patrick Richardson. So we don't want him to be Patrick Luck. We don't want that with him. He has to be easy with some of those shots. He just turned 30, and he ain't getting any younger. He has to preserve his body for the entire season. We're in week 7 coming up. So just, chill.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like the runs. I'd like to see it just more when the play breaks down, when the Red Sea parts in the offensive and defensive lines, and he just runs and can find a good lane to slide or get out of bounds. But
he's so much of a competitor.
And that's the game these days. Are people saying, Josh Allen, you know what? We just better put the kibosh on this. Players that are able to take control of the game on the ground, man, that is the way the game is played these days. And the Chiefs taking advantage of it, I think, is great. And Patrick Mahomes has not been an injury-prone player throughout his career. He's had nicks and bruises and a couple ankles, but those have occurred, in the pocket. He got hurt on a freak play. His knee separate. He had the knee dislocation on a quarterback sneak that we haven't run since. There was a freak play.
Laid out against the Browns in the playoffs, and Chad Henne had to bring it home.
Just trying to think back to the play and kind of what happened. He was outside the pocket, and I'm just trying to think about how that went.
These are different. These are different type of collisions, though, Clint. Yeah, it's one thing. It's one thing to have these things happen while you're in the pocket, where you can have a soft landing zone. But it's another thing when you're running full speed and the defender's running full speed and he has full clearance. He has a green light to knock your head off.
Sure.
It's a different type of collision that I'm concerned, like if he takes the wrong angle or if he trips and he something bad can happen. So he's our quarterback, and I'm not sure that he's built to take that type of punishment.
Yeah, and then I wanted to go into having Rashee Rice back, what that means for this offense.
Love it.
We've seen Tyquan, what he can do. He was silent in this past game, but we know what he can do downfield. Xavier has just ignited this offense. Hollywood Brown's really coming alive, show what he can do when he's healthy and confident and in an offense for a couple years and has chemistry with the quarterback. And now Rashee Rice comes back, who was on pace for about 9 touchdowns, 1,200 yards last year before his injury. And he's had extra time to heal with the suspension. That's all done. That's all behind him. And how much do you think he's going to be involved this week since he hasn't gotten up to football speed, been able to practice with the team?
100%.
Yes.
He's the, I think people have forgot, he's the engine of the offense. He's the focal point of the offense. Not Kelsey, not Pacheco, not Worthy. Rashee Rice, the offense is built around him. He's going to fit in like a glove. Now, I'm not expecting 7, 8 catches for 90 yards or 2, 3 touchdowns or nothing. I'm not expecting that, but he's going to make an impact.
Yes.
You might see everybody eat. You might see Tyquan Thornton get him a couple catches. You might see Pacheco get him a couple catches. You might see Noah Gray, big play Noah Gray, get him a couple catches. I just think he's going to open things up for so many people, and they leave you one-on-one with Rashee Rice. Did you see the way he was cooking up defenders last year in the 4-game sample size we had? What he did against the Bengals last year? Man, come on, bro. And that was without Brown. That was without an experienced Xavier Worthy now. Man, look, and it couldn't have been a better debut than the bastards who I hate the most, the Las Vegas Raiders at Arrowhead. It's going to be rocking, baby.
Can't wait for it. Noah, Andy Reid alluded to this today when he was asked in his press conference, well, what kind of workload are we expecting? How much are we ramping up Rashee Rice? And Andy Reid was like, well, obviously he can't work with the team. We haven't been working him with them. That's not what we're, but rest assured,
Okay.
He's working and he's ready to roll. Like Brian said, this is full bore. This is we're not dipping our toes in the water here. This is full Rashee here.
Bro, we are 6 days away from Andy Reid's Christmas presents. He hasn't had this team. This is a new team for him. He's never had this team before. We're right with all of these receivers healthy. He's not going to be able to sleep Saturday night. And it's a nooner. It's a noon game on Sunday. We don't have these. Look, it's an early Christmas present for Andy Reid, baby. It's going to be a beautiful noon, crisp fall afternoon. It's going to be 90s style ass whooping at Arrowhead against these punk ass Raiders, man. It's going to be Marty Schottenheimer is going to be smiling from the skies on the ass whooping that's going to happen to these Las Vegas, Oakland, Los Angeles Raiders.
Yeah, they have a poor offensive line. Geno's turning the ball over. Brock Bowers has been injured for weeks. Who knows if he plays this game? Ashton Genty's starting to get going. That's kind of what they rely on, all that they have, and the really key to victory is Ashton Genty going off and playing the Titans. They can't play the Titans every week. It's the Chiefs coming to town, so Ashton Genty can go off all he wants. Their defense has been a mess ever since we've been talking. We've had George Atkinson on the show for years. We've talked to him about this defense, and he's always like, "Oh, maybe this guy can do it." No, it's just never. They get Max Crosby, but other than that, it's just a mess, and it's always going to be. And I don't know if Pete Carroll's brought the energy that they've needed, and I don't know if Geno Smith was the right one. It seems like he's fallen off a cliff. Like when you leave Seattle, you fall off a cliff. Russell Wilson did it. Geno Smith did it. I don't know what happens, but these quarterbacks are struggling.
And the Raiders are just behind the 8 ball here. When you look at this division, you look at the Chargers and Broncos, both at 4-2, both very fortunate to be 4-2 after this week. By the way, this could easily be a 3-3, and everybody 3-3, and the Raiders 2-4 right now, and with the Chiefs right there in it. But for the Raiders, they're just behind the 8 ball. We called this before the season. You looked at their roster, you looked at what they had, and you're like, this is not a team ready to compete for the AFC West. I think Nick Wright picked them to go to the playoffs. And I'm like, no, I always thought this division was slightly overrated coming into it. Great coaches and some really good players here. And I think Bo Nix and the Broncos, we get them twice. We'll see how it goes. We get the Chargers again. They're still figuring things out. They've got a lot of injuries. But for the Raiders, that's our week right now, and that's all we can focus on is to get above 500. This has the makings of a party time at Arrowhead Stadium, but I'm saving it for the prediction. But the last 2 years with Aiden O'Connell at the helm those should have been 2 Chiefs losses, inexplicably. So we know the Raiders come here to play, and it will not be necessarily easy.
Yeah, that's cute. That's cute. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens when we do another ring around the rosy on their ass on Sunday.
Ooh.
My confidence is sky high with this offense, man. It was before Rashid Rice. It's just even bigger with him. I feel like everything is wide open now. I really do. I feel like they're executing at a high level. And again, the offensive line is Kingsley Sumaia has not gotten enough credit for his development and growth and fitting in at left guard. We had Joe Tooney at left guard last year, an all pro guy, and the offense was worse last year. So, and of course, things have happened. You know, Josh Simmons is helping out at left tackle. Of course, Jalen Moore, money well spent. I can't wait to dive into that in a second. But man, like my confidence is just sky high with this offense. And I told y'all coming into the season, my expectations was going to be high, and they're going to fulfill them.
Absolutely. And you mentioned this offense. And since the 0-2 start, 3-1, point differential plus 40, turnover differential plus 5, Mahomes touchdown to turnovers 11-1. First things first for the graphic there. And you mentioned it, Josh Simmons unexpectedly out dealing with a family emergency in California. Our prayers to him and his family for whatever's going on there with that situation. But last minute, Jalen Moore is told, you're starting, best of luck, you're in. Aiden Hutchinson's going to be coming off the blind side sometimes against you, and he held up. You didn't hear his name called, which is a good thing for an offensive lineman. And man, props to Jalen Moore. Like you said, money well spent. He was brought in, and Chris Collinsworth kept saying they brought him in to be their swing tackle. They paid him a lot of money to be a swing tackle. He was coming near to be the starter until Josh Simmons got drafted and he fell into our laps and took his job. But man, love Jalen Moore and his game the other night.
I could not wait to talk about this because so many people in Kansas City, in Chiefs Kingdom, criticize the Chiefs for overpaying a swing tackle. Hello? Did you not watch the last 2 years of Chiefs football? I didn't give a damn how much money they invested into the offensive line. We needed it because you needed to function in this offense. Patrick Mahomes did not trust his offensive line for the past 2 years. He hasn't. We haven't seen him this comfortable since 22. And this offense is better than that offense. Honestly, it's a short sample size. I feel like it. I'll restate that. I feel like this has the potential to be better than that 22 offense. But look, Jalen Moore came in. First off, they're planning for the future too. Think about more than this year, y'all. As long as we can fit everybody under the cap this year, we know that Jawan Taylor is going to be out of here next year, and that is our right tackle that started at left tackle the other game yesterday against the Lions, man. So I always thought it was money well spent, and people were just overly critical of spending extra money on something that makes this offense what it is. And that's part of the reason why 22 was so good is because Sky Moore did have a pivotal role on that team. Kadarius Toney did have a pivotal role on that team. Marquez Valdez-Scantling did have a pivotal role on that team. Where are these guys now on other teams? Even if they're in the league at all, Kadarius Toney. So as long as Patrick Mahomes has time, he can make it work with the receivers, man. That was my whole point. And overpaying for a swing tackle who you're going to invest in the future. He's going to be your right tackle.
No, they did the right thing. When you think about it was a tough decision when you let someone go like Joe Tooney, but that freeing up the money, you bring in the Jalen Moore. And I was not critical of that in the slightest, especially because I thought that was going to be our left tackle. I was concerned that was he ready to do that? But now seeing where he's able to work in and the depth that this team now has on the offensive line, it feels really good.
Yes. Doesn't it feel good now?
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean,
to know that Patrick Mahomes is not getting sacked every single play, that he's not running for his life. He's running now because the receivers aren't open because defenses are playing coverage. But it's not because he's getting sacked or getting hurried or his throws are being rushed. It makes a world of difference, and the average casual football fan just doesn't recognize that.
No, we're with you. Clint and I have always been against $80 million a year guys out here. Joe Thuney, the Avengers, everywhere on the offensive line. You get a rookie, you get a cheap guy in Jalen Moore, you get Kingsley Suamataia, another rookie. I'm all for it. They're playing well. They're rookies. You spend high draft picks. You sign reasonable contracts as much as you can. I'm okay with Creed and Trey making their money. I just can't have Juwan making money, Joe Thuney making money, a high-priced left tackle making a bunch of money. And then it's like, well, and you also got now we can't afford receivers. You got Sky Moore, MVS, Juju. Best of luck, Pacheco back there. Like, I just want to spread the wealth, and we've been developing offensive line, spending reasonably. Got a good left tackle there, and Jalen Moore is going to be our right tackle. But another thing I want to talk about this offense real quick is there any pause or moment of hesitation with this offense when you look at, okay, the offense is coming alive. It's coming alive against the Ravens, who have been injured and depleted. It's come alive against the Lions, who've been injured and depleted. A pretty good game against the Jags, 28 points. And that's a pretty solid defense there. But you've also made a lot of hay against two defenses that were very much depleted in the secondary and across the entire defense.
I don't think so. I think that there's something to that. But you in the NFL, you got this team needed to find some momentum, and they did that against the Baltimore Ravens, which, by the way, at the time that game was played, Baltimore was still a Super Bowl front runner, and they were going to kick our ass, and they were the best, most well-rounded roster in the league. And this is just all the stuff here that coming into the Jacksonville game. Well, they're the number one defense when it comes to turnovers, and they did create a very big turnover in that game. And so, whereas I think there is something to that, we're also talking about teams. The Detroit Lions they were 15-2 last year. They were one of the best teams in the league this year. They're going to be in the hunt for the 1 seed. So you're doing it against good teams. In the NFL, we didn't last year when we had nobody. When our team's depleted, you didn't want to talk about that. It was just, you got to keep going. This offense isn't good enough. We have to bring in DeAndre Hopkins, who inexplicably sucked for 3/4 of a season and then return to form. So that you can point to the numbers, and there are some things that have helped the Chiefs get guided into this direction, but they also had to go out and execute and do this and get this back going. So, and it hasn't been easy, no matter who the opponent's been for the last 2 years.
You couldn't have said it. I couldn't have said it better, Clint, with the expectation before the game. Like, yeah, the people had the Ravens all on our ass, beating us down at Arrowhead. People had the Lions yesterday. Like, they couldn't understand why the Chiefs were favorites at home. They couldn't understand it at all. I heard 3 or 4 analysts say that. But you guys are missing one important piece that I didn't hear mentioned, because this started at halftime in New York. It started in the second half of that Giants game. That's when the offense really, and that was without Xavier Worthy. That's when they really started to click and started to flow. Because I think the score was 9-6 at the half, and the Chiefs ended up blowing them out. So, but ever since then, along with having Worthy back out there, it's been lights out. I don't have points per game or anything like that with the last 3 games as opposed to the first 3 games. But I'm sure that the Chiefs are averaging at least 8 to 10 more points per game.
Yeah, this offensive line, I remember at the beginning of the year just talking about like Kingsley and how he's developed early in the season and preseason and leading into it. Was like, man, he can run block. I don't know if he can handle this pass block. They're going to be stunting. They're going to be challenging him. And we had Tim Grunhard on. He's like, man, he's sandwiched in between 2 great players, and that makes it easier on him as well, let alone just developing with Andy Heck and time, getting comfortable with the position. Like you said, Patrick Mahomes has time, and as Kingsley gets more comfortable and gives him better protection along with the rest of the line, and Jawan Taylor cuts out the penalties, which he's done the last couple of weeks, I think you're seeing everyone just get more comfortable, more settled, more weapons coming back. Now Rasheed's coming back. So, well, yeah, there may be some little bit to that where, yes, the Lions and Ravens were injured. I think a lot of it is like what you guys said. They're getting confident. They're getting comfortable. And now with Rasheed coming back, it's not going to matter whether they're healthy or not. This is just going to be a well-oiled machine at 100% strength.
Yeah.
Got to get that running game going. Got to. That's the only thing missing with this offense, and they're working it in. They're working it in.
They are, and I think that as the downfield threats become more prevalent, that you're going to be able to chip away and grind out some games and run some clock, protect some leads. I think that's going to all just kind of be a part of this this hopefully cycle of what this offense is, and I'm here for it. I'm so ready. We've waited for so very long. Yeah, 31 points, John. 31 points a game in the last 3 games, and this team had not scored. I think they scored 30 once last year, and that was in the AFC Championship game. And before that, it was the season before, week 3 against the Bears. Since they've done it, maybe once in there against the Raiders as well in Vegas, but it has just been the rarest of the rare. And it's been painful. We forget, guys, this NFL thing, football, we live and die by a lot of this. It's for entertainment purposes, right? We're all here to be entertained. Why are the Chiefs on 15 primetime games a year? Because people are entertained by it, but it had not been entertaining. It is again, and it is fun to watch. And this is what we've missed and what we were accustomed to. So it's a good sign.
It is. And like Brian said, where they're working the running game in. But the one thing I was a little disappointed in the Lions game is after they scored the first possession of the third quarter, they stopped the line to get the ball back, and then they go pass, punt. It's like you've got this 10-point lead. Can we run the ball? Try to work a little bit of clock. I know it's early on in the second half, but they didn't even try to run the ball there. Just pass, punt. Reminded me of just Andy kind of, hey, things are working. We're feeling good. And he just kind of gets in the zone of oh, yeah, we can run the football.
Yeah, the national TV said, Andy Reid always wants to show his ass. And so it frustrates me too sometimes especially on the 4th and shorts, because it's bro, Kareem Hunt is guaranteed 1.5 yards at least just off his momentum alone. And we want to pass or do some type of, play action. Come on, man, just run the ball, bro. Sometimes, and I'm going to talk about this on the pod, sometimes coaches can overcomplicate things a lot of times when it's just simple. Just smack them in the face, run the ball.
Yeah, I think we had a 4th down we didn't convert in this game where Mahomes rolls out and everything was covered and he just kind of chucks it. And it's just run the ball. We're having some success this game with it. Pacheco's showing that he can actually see and have some ball carrier vision and find the hole and go outside when Noah Gray's making a block instead of cutting back into defenders. Kareem Hunt's running with powers, running over people. And so I didn't really get that, but that's something Andy Reid's going to have to work on and trust more. The running game needs to show that Andy can trust it as well. And I think we're getting to that point. So, but it is prediction time for the Raiders, as it is Raider week here in Kansas City. Marty Schottenheimer's looking down. He's wanting us to crush them, like Brian said, and it looks like we very well could with how this offense is rolling, the struggles the Raiders are having. Rashee Rice is back. Clint, what say you? You picked the Lions last week. Will you do it? Will you be a Raider this week?
Well, no. Like I mentioned, the Chiefs have really had their hands full at Arrowhead Stadium the last 2 seasons with the Raiders 2 years ago on Christmas Day, last year on Black Friday. Those should have been 2 Raiders victories. Aiden O'Connell was at the helm for those. This is Pete Carroll. This is Geno Smith. This is a Raiders team that should be a little bit improved here. We haven't really seen it, and I don't really like where they're headed. I do think that we might be just getting a little ahead of our skis a little bit, that this offense is due for a regression game where we don't quite take advantage of the Raiders defense, and it just feels a little sluggish. So I have us winning this game something like 23-16, somewhat comfortable, but just never quite as explosive as maybe we want it to be. But right now it's about winning, getting to 4-3, and then you got Washington coming up on Monday Night Football. So Chiefs 23, Raiders 16. You get out of there with the victory.
Brian?
Oh, man, come on. You already know what it is. I'm Len Dawson over here, baby. Chiefs are going to win this game easily. They're going to get a lot of turnovers. The barbecue is just going to fill up the Arrowhead air. And Rashee Rice, I think he'll have at least 5 catches. Patrick Mahomes, big day. He's going to add to his MVP resume. The Chiefs win big, 41-18.
41-18. All right. I like it, man, because this offense is back. Rashee's back. I think this is going to be an explosive game, too. It's at home. We don't have to travel to Vegas, although that's not a problem. We just win Super Bowls there when the Raiders can't even win playoff games there. But I do like this game at home, another week at home. Everyone's settled. Rashee Rice gets back into this thing, and I think it's a 31-13 victory. Maybe a couple turnovers for this defense. Get that going, get that mojo going, get them turning the ball over, get them feeling good before we get into some Commanders and Bills, some real action, some real games, some real quarterbacks. Those are going to be kind of measuring sticks for this team. And so I look forward to that. But I am looking forward to an easy week. Hopefully it's not quite as hairy as Clint has it, but hopefully it's more in the Brian and Noah fashion where this is a blowout. We have a good time. The offense is clicking. Rasheed's back. And, man, it is party time in Arrowhead.
Well, before we go, guys, it's been great. We were going to lead you into Monday Night Football. You're going to go check it out right now. But within the end of the first quarter, the Falcons, thanks, John Harrison, for the update as we're going into the Monday night game here, do lead the Buffalo Bills 14-7 at the end of the first quarter. Going to be something worth checking out as there's a doubleheader on Monday Night Football. We always like to.
Great uniform matchup, by the way.
I think the Falcons have the red helmets.
Oh, then yes, it is. It is a very good.
Bills with the OJ era uniforms.
Then
they're killer. They're killer.
We're behind the eight ball. We don't have it on yet as we're finishing up here in Arrowhead Allies, guys. Thanks so much for being a part of it, for the comments, for the shares, for all that you do, checking in with us, spend a little time just enjoying this victory that the Chiefs have had as the Chiefs are now back to 500, and it's time to reset and onward and upward. The 0-2 start is now behind us, and I think only good things from here, gentlemen.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
We on our way, baby.
It's Raider week. Go Chiefs!
Chiefs!